welcome back. This is the Malachi wrap-up. These are highlights and takeaways from the book of Malachi. So this is what's going on. So God begins by declaring his love. And he says, what you guys say, well, in what way have you loved us? And he goes on to say through verse 5 how he's loved you. He says, hey, don't you know that I've chosen you? Like, Jacob I have loved, Esau I have hated. And he's talking about the nations that came from those two men. So the nation of Israel, he's saying, I've loved you. I've chosen you. Like we said earlier in the week, think of it as I've chosen you and this one I haven't chosen. Both of these nations got conquered by the Babylonians, but only one recovered. And that was Jacob, or Israel. God restored them. God brought them back. And this book is taking place about 100 years after the exiles returned, the first group of exiles. But Esau's people, or Edom, that nation became known as Edom, they never recovered, didn't recover. They don't exist. So God is saying, I've chosen you. I restore you. I keep you. I sustain you. And you're my people. So in verses 6 till the end of the chapter, God is talking about their polluted offerings. The offerings just are not up to par. So he goes through it and he says, a son honors his father, verse 6, and a servant his master. If then I am a father, where's my honor? And if I am a master, where is my reverence? What happened, like we said, over time, the people had stopped bringing quality offerings. They started bringing just anything. And we can take a note in our lives that when worship becomes mechanical, when things that you're doing for the Lord become mechanical, they no longer have meaning, the quality starts to dip a little bit. The attitude and the place of your heart is going to come out in your worship. It's going to come out in the things that you do for the Lord. So if you are going about motions and kind of showing up at church, putting in your time, that stuff's going to show. It's going to show in your life. It's going to show in the way you worship. It's going to show in the quality of time that you give the Lord. It's going to show up. And when you do mechanical worship and you go through motions, it's not satisfying to you and it's not satisfying to God. I also love verse 13 where he says, oh, what a weariness, and you sneer at it. Like, man, aren't you tired of doing this stuff? Aren't you tired of the way it makes you feel? You're going through motions. It makes you tired. It doesn't make you satisfied. It is not satisfying to God. It will not be satisfying to you. Very strong words here. Love it. Finally, verse 14, it says, but cursed be the deceiver who has in his flock a male and takes a vow, but sacrifices to the Lord what is blemished. For I am a great king, says the Lord of hosts, and my name is to be feared among the nations. He's like, hey, I'm not some guy named Joe. I am a great king. You bring to me what a great king deserves. I love it back in this other certain verse. He says, you know, if your sacrifices are all that, try giving them to your governor. See if he accepts them. Is the governor going to accept this blind sheep that you're bringing or this legless lamb that you're bringing? No. I actually made this note in my Bible. And it says, Mari, think about your service to God. No mechanical indifference ever. Definitely not what I want to do. I cannot wait to see what is in chapter 2 and 3 and 4 and check out the rest of the book. We will be doing that. We are going to take a small little hiatus in between the Old Testament and the New Testament, but 10 Questions will be back. We are not going to take 400 years, like the time span between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I promise, it won't be that long. But we're going to take a small hiatus in between. Read Matthew chapter 1. That is where we will be picking up Matthew chapter 1. Read it on your own. Go through it a couple times, and I will meet you back here. I've had an awesome time with you.